time zones. I welcome you all on behalf of AID Cincinnati to this webinar on healthcare interventions in Maharashtra during COVID-19. Triveni Mitramandal Cincinnati is our co-sponsor for this webinar. Today we have speakers from our partner organization Sathi to talk about healthcare services in Maharashtra during and after COVID. If you can move to the next slide, Shri. A few housekeeping points here. To begin with, we'll have a very brief introductions to Association for India's Development and Triveni and focus further activities during COVID, followed by the presentation by Sathi. The presentation will be done in about 30 minutes and we will have enough time for questions and answers post that presentation. If you have any questions during the presentation, please post those in chat window. If you would like to see the presentation and the presenter video at the same time, you have an option. You can go to the view options button at the top of your Zoom window. And at the top center, you can click on side-by-side option. During the meeting, please mute your devices. Type your questions in the chat window as I mentioned earlier. If you have more than one question, please give chance before you ask your second or follow-up question so that others will have also opportunity. With that, I would request Shri Mirle to talk about AID and their COVID effort, followed by Amit Shastri from Triveni.
Welcome everybody. A brief word about AID. Many of you know of AID, and for those of us who do know, it's also a good reminder of such a long way that AID has come since 1991. We've supported over 500 projects in India. We send about $2 million annually. We've also been involved since 1999 with different disasters, natural and man-made, in India and have provided relief and rehabilitation. Similarly, in this situation with COVID, the lockdown and the impact, we have stepped up to help with that. You can find more information about our activities at aidindia.org. Now, for the COVID relief itself, which started end of March, we targeted about $1 million since we realized the scope of what needed to be done was tremendous. To date, we have raised about $750,000, which is still remarkable. And of that, about $500,000 have gone towards relief efforts. In the meantime, we are also looking at longer-term rehabilitation needs, including this particular project that we are supporting with Sathi. And also, since many of you are from Maharashtra, here is a list of the different COVID projects in Maharashtra that AID is currently supporting. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to play a little bit of a video that's a little dated because it talks about the effects of COVID early on and how AID got involved, but it gives a snapshot of how AID has been participating in the COVID disaster and remedying it to whatever extent. So if you'll give me a minute, I will change my setting on Zoom to enable computer video, and this should play now.
exactly my first. I don't know which one.
Please mute your phones if the devices if you're not speaking.
You can mute them. You can mute everybody.
So I will again go back to the video presentation. Give me 1 minute while I change the settings. And at this point, I'd like to ask Nitin Karande of Triveni Mitra Mandal to tell us a little bit about Triveni Mitra Mandal. Nitin?
Hi everybody. This is Nitin Karande from Triveni Mitra Mandal. So Triveni Mitra Mandal is a non-profit organization representing Marathi community in and around Greater Cincinnati. We celebrate cultural programs and also we are involved in many community services like food shelter and other activities. Here are a few things that we did this year during COVID. To start with, we had a doctor panel discussion with local community doctors for Q&A session on COVID and what precautions should be taken. And this was very well received by community. We also reached out to senior citizens and families in need to get groceries or medical supplies for them. We also did a fundraising donation drive in early COVID months, and funds were distributed to local organizations displayed on the screen. We also did one-on-one match during that raising drive. And we also did food donation to Eat Out Lakota. We're also working with local lawyers to provide estate planning to our members in discounted price. And we also continue with other activities like food shelter and Sri Ganesh Puja. We also arranged few online entertainment programs to support artist community in India. So with all this, this is going to be our first attempt for our motherland, Maharashtra. So please listen to remaining webinar and donate generously for this noble cause. Back to you, Sri.
Thank you, Nitin. Dr. Arun Gadre is a coordinator of Saathi, a gynecologist who practiced in rural Maharashtra for 25 years. Dr. Gadre is also award-winning novelist in Marathi with 17 published books. I welcome Dr. Gadre and request him to introduce Shaku and Bhav, his colleagues from Saathi, and take us through his presentation.
Thanks, Rajesh. Good afternoon, everybody. I thank AID Cincinnati and Triveni Mitra Mandal for giving us opportunity to be with you. And I thank you all for being with us. I have come with two colleagues of mine. Shakuntala Bharelao is a senior action team member in Saathi. She is active for many years in the Patients' Rights campaign across India and has a good network of CSOs in Pune city. Bhausaheb Aher is also a very senior action team member in Saathi, involved in many years in public health sector accountability, health rights campaigns, and also for the social auditing of the public health services and many other services. So welcome Shaku and Bhav with me. Next slide. Yeah. So dear all, I am Dr. Arun Gadre. I am a coordinator of Saathi. It's a center of Anusandhan Trust, but basically it is based in Pune since 1998. 22 years have passed and we are still running on the path for which we have decided to approach. Our goal is very simple. Our goal is the patient should be center of the healthcare system, whether it is a public or private. We believe in the right-based approach. We believe that it is a right of every citizen of India to get a quality healthcare which should be accessible and available and especially to that segments of the society like tribal, rural, vulnerable sections. So we are running for 22 years, and thanks to funders like AID, we have continued our march, and we will continue our march. I will just let you know just a helicopter view of what we do. These are the 4 different areas in which we are working, say for last 10 years. The first and the foremost, for which we are known internationally, is a community-based monitoring on planning of health services. I mean, we are making empowered the local village community and the field facilitators to monitor and demand the health services as their right, not as some mercy of the public health service. It's a right. They are paying indirect taxes. So salary is paid partially from their taxes. We imbibe this right-based approach, and they monitor, they negotiate, they demand, and we are now working in 13 districts of Maharashtra, 28 blocks, 189 primary health centers, sub-centers, and 886 villages. I will just give one small example how we work. After I am in Sati for last 7.5 years, and after joining within few months, I had an opportunity to go to this Jana Samvad, not at this taluka level, this Posteris taluka. I went to Nandurbar. It's a remote district, tribal district. And there the local organizations have gathered around 150 tribal women and men who had come to get their problems solved for the redressal of their complaints, which were not solved at the village level, block level. So they have come to the district level. And on the dais were the district health officers with medical officers. And I still remember the face of that old, frail woman. She was very thin. Her voice was strong. She said, that particular doctor took 500 rupees from me to conduct delivery of my daughter, which should be free of charge. I demand those 500 rupees back. And wow, I was in Sati just recently. I could not believe my eyes. I mean, the doctor assured her that, yes, I will return your money back. And the next 3 hours, a wave of questions and demands and entitlement. Wow. I could not believe that this is happening in Maharashtra, in India, in public health system. That is what Sati has done. We also are, our area is nutrition and child services. In nutrition, previous slide please, nutrition, we are working right now in 440 villages, in tribal villages and rural areas, 10 tribal blocks and 2 rural blocks. We are not providing anything to the children. We only monitor that Anganwadi gives proper food, and we also track the malnourished child to her or his home. Our Asha Karyakarti, the Asha is the last mile worker of health system in every village. She works with us, we work with her, and our Karyakarta. They track the malnourished child to her home. And then basically they educate the caretakers how to give the food. We don't provide anything, we just educate. And I'm very, very happy to let you know that in last 3 years, we have brought out around 35 to 40% of malnourished children out of their category to upper category. Next slide. Another very important area which we work is the regulation of the private healthcare sector. We have started from 1990s as the Patients' Rights campaign, but we have gone long way. And after I joined, because I was working at a small hospital inspired by Baba and Prakash Amte and my wife, Dr. Jyoti, anesthetist, we worked in Lasalgaon for 22 years and we ran a small private nursing home. So I was well versed and actually the victim of the commercialization of private healthcare sector. And I have a good network of doctors whom I know that they are also complaining and suffering. So I took interviews of, under the project, I took interviews of 78 doctors across India, and they all they were all successful doctors, senior doctors, but they are very frustrated and sad looking the degeneration of the commercial medical practice. So they came out with a testimony, and it was like a skeleton in the cupboard coming out. That was the first part. And the second part was written by Abhay Shukla, Dr. Abhay Shukla. He's an internationally known public health expert. I gave the symptoms, he gave the remedy. The book came as a dissenting diagnosis published by Penguin. And it made a roar because it was the first time that the face of some ugly face of private medical care, corporate hospitals were coming into the picture. And it led, I'm very happy that it led to a formation of national network, Alliance of Doctors for Ethical Healthcare. We around 100 doctors have come together, and we are into the reform and regulation of private healthcare sector. For last 22 years, Sati is into research. We did many research, but I just give the last example because that was the recent research we did. All researches, basically what we do, are for helping our advocacy and to advocacy for regulating the private healthcare sector. We did conduct this report where we, 2 years back, 1.5 years back, and we asked 60 medical representatives from across 6 states of India. And we asked them, how do you tempt the doctors? What are the malpractices undertaken by pharmaceutical companies to make the brand in the pain of the doctor? The report is available on the Sati website. It's a very revealing effort. I'm not going to go into details, but only thing is that see the rights, there is a snapshot of the Hindu, a very well-known newspaper, and it has given the title, Non-Profit Brings into Light the Doctor Pharma Nexus. It was also very huge impact, media impact with TV and print. It was so impactful that the Prime Minister office took the notice of the report and warned the pharmaceuticals that don't indulge in the malpractices. Next slide. So these are our 4 areas. We are working for 20 years. But like you, we were also drawn by the tsunami of COVID. We are still into it. Our heads are perplexed. We are numb by the tragedy and suffering around. And we are very sad like all of you. But Sati leaped into action because we individually felt that it is the duty, it is the hour for us to help whatever we can. And the migrants, yes, aid had also supported migrants, we also supported, but we focused our attention to daily wage earners. They were hungry. And we provided around 1,500 ration kits for 7,000 people in 19 slums of Pune. It was a heart-reaching experience for our team. Shaku was leading the team, Bhau was leading the team. They were in the field. They will share with you their experience. I told you, we are also tracking malnourished children. So we distributed around 10,000 eggs in 500 malnourished children in Bor, Velle, Dunnar. They had none. The entire systems had collapsed in COVID. And so normal food also was difficult to reach. So we took upon ourselves and provided. Our tempo and Karyakarta went far away in the jungle, in the remote villages. And we made that eggs to reach those children. And Asha is the last leg worker of the health system. She has been engaged by government of big way for COVID. We provided Asha's mask. That was our COVID response. Next. Next slide, please. Next, we also were into awareness. I mean, we conducted online training in 28 blocks, 13 districts through 23 SCSOs about COVID. We have come out with the module also. And we are also came out with the posters. These 2 posters down, they are written in the tribal languages. And we developed around 9 tribal languages awareness material. The posters were distributed in tribal area by Tribal Development Department. Next slide, please. Now we come to why we are here. With your help, with help of AID, we are into a project for 1 year, COVID and post-COVID project. Because there is a tremendous COVID impact on Maharashtra and Pune. As you all know, Maharashtra is 23% of the cases and 40% of death in India. Mumbai was forerunner. It is still, but it is receding now. And Pune is becoming the 2nd largest hotspot in the state and the 5th largest in India. On 13th August, there were over 70,000 cases and 900 deaths. We are at a Pune at a peak, and it is going to sustain for 2 months. That is a very shivering thought for all of us. Really a shivering thought. And another impact is the second wave, the rural area. I mean, now with the migrant and with all other ways, the COVID has reached the rural area. It is started, the wave has started now. And we have to really, really take pains to make people understand, aware, and help the patient to get the health care. And last thing which I want to point out very severely, that non-COVID cases have taken a brunt. I mean, people are not rural doctors have been shifted to urban areas. Urban doctors have shifted to COVID center. The non-COVID doctors are not there. I mean, the people are not there. The staff is not there. Or if it is there, it is overburdened. Then anyway, that was going to happen, because public health system, our Sathi's basic demand right from the beginning is to oppose the privatization of healthcare and strengthening the public health system. Because we were fighting for 20 years. But in last 30 years, all governments, all party governments have neglected private healthcare sector. They have done a passive privatization. They have pushed the patient from out of public healthcare system because they did not nourish it. It is malfunction, debilitated. So even before COVID-19, they were not going to be a good service delivery for non-COVID cases like cesarean, like heart attack and all that. All patients we were monitoring public health system. We know what the dysfunction was there. But I still salute the public health system in Maharashtra, because though debilitated, is rose to the occasion and now doing the maximum work what it can do. And there are no private sector now. Private sector was initially nowhere visible. Unfortunately, across the globe, not only in India, middle class has forgotten that public health system is the backbone of any healthcare system. It's a warning sign for all of us. So what I want to draw the attention, that now the pathetic healthcare system is now fully engaged in COVID, and people are getting difficulty in getting access for cesarean, heart attack and all that. I mean, the long queues are there, emergencies are handled somehow, but we want to help patients in that area also. Next slide. And this is the impact on Pune. Breathless patients, no beds. These are the two snapshots I have taken from the app developed by Pune Municipal Corporation. All are red. There are only available beds in Sassoon Hospital, one of the largest hospitals in Pune. It is attached to BJ Medical College, one of the prestigious medical college, and everything is red. And in Dinanath Mangeshkar Hospital, one of the major private hospital, which had been taken by government for the COVID duty, everything is red. Only yellow is, what is that yellow? Bed without oxygen. I mean, if I need oxygen, there are no beds. If I need ICU without ventilator, there is no ICU. And if I need ICU with ventilator, sorry, in these two hospitals. There are some available in here and there, but how would the patient know? Patients are running from here and there, 7 hours, 8 hours. Shaku will tell you the experience of her. Her friend died. So we are facing that. And next slide, please. And that's why the situation is scary. I mean, this news actually flashed the attention of government, very serious attention, because a retired scientist died. He could not get ICU, could not get. And he died in the veranda or a casualty of Sassoon. So that is what the situation is. Now there are some beds available here and there, but patients have no knowledge where to run. We are going to help them. Next slide. And this private sector has awakened. Some good individual doctors are doing very well job. They have done right from the beginning. They never shut their door. Some hospitals never shut their shop, but most of the hospitals shut. And they awaken because they look the opportunity. Some private hospitals have started looting the patient to the extent that the collector of the Pune city had to call people and say, give warning. I mean, district collector directs authorities to conduct random checks of hospital. I know a patient. He after our book came, there is also one organization came up, that is Pune Citizen Doctor Forum. One senior journalist is our friend there. He has his mother-in-law admitted for just monitoring, no oxygen, no doctor. And according to government rules, the charges would never have been more than 70,000. He was asked 3 lakh rupees. Since he was a senior journalist, he had a contact with politicians. He had a contact with us like some resource. We could fight out, and he did not pay more than 70,000. But he said, Arun, the people around him admitted in that hospital were running pillar and post. 2 lakh rupees, 2.5 lakh rupees. Sorry. So we have to use the spaces which we will get and help patients in that sphere also. Next slide. And there are opportunities emerging. Maharashtra Shasan, the Maharashtra government, have expanded the entitlement for COVID, non-COVID in private hospitals. Now, first of all, it has expanded the free healthcare insurance scheme, Mahatma Phule Jana Arogya Yojana. It was reserved for below poverty line. It is a cashless care scheme for the below poverty line for 972 procedures like renal dialysis, cancer, heart attack, knee joint replacement, and 972. Maybe out of desperation, requirement due to COVID. COVID is now shaping the future of the healthcare across world, and in India, in Maharashtra. We are quite alert in taking that opportunity and to press for public health system. But the public health system, health minister and chief minister had expanded this scheme to each and every person. It will not be asked whether you are from the poor class or middle class. Then in source, Government has insourced Dinanath Mangeshwar many private hospitals, trust hospitals, with 80% beds reserved for the COVID patient. And it has capped the rates in all private hospitals. So the government regulations have come, they are within our hands. The government is warning, but there is anarchy. There is nobody to coordinate, to make the people accountable, the hospitals accountable, to help the people. But these opportunities are there for us, the NGO, which has good relationship with the health ministry, in the Pune municipal, in the civil society organizations in Pune, and so we can definitely coordinate and help. Next slide. So what will we doing? I mean, I have been letting you know what we are intending to do, but it's very simple. Those patients sitting in the OPD, waiting for their turn, not knowing where to go, we will facilitate access to healthcare for vulnerable urban and rural populations. In the tsunami of COVID-19 epidemic and post-COVID also. Why I am saying post-COVID? We are looking forward for the 1 year project, but it may go 3 years, because even after the COVID goes, the public health system has to be strengthened, and Mahatma Phule Jana Arogya Yojana has to be reaching to the poor. The economy is going to go that shattered that poor, vulnerable population in need of healthcare will be tremendous. We want to help, and that is our starting step. Next slide. So we will help help desk, physical help desk in a hospital in rural area. The person will sit there. That person will connected to some CSO, and we will empower that person about the schemes, about the COVID, non-COVID, and we have one more person who will make the awareness in the community that look, don't worry, whatever you have, worry whether you want to have information, or if you are COVID positive, or if you are having a labor pains, please access the healthcare, and we will run that help desk physically in a hospital. And we are running a helpline for 2-3 months, first 2-3 months. Originally, we thought to run a health desk in Pune city in one hospital, but now it is not possible, neither advisable. I mean, entire Pune is reaching in desperation for the search of beds and help. So we are at least 2 to 3 months, we are running helpline. Once the things settle, we may select a very populated hospital and we will start if required, or if we require, we will continue helpline. And lastly, why we are all doing it? Because government has entitled the poor people to get a free treatment in COVID and non-COVID. We are going to make government pay, the hospitals pay to give care to the needy patient without giving a rupee. I tell you one example. 10 days back, one call came from a Karyakarta. His mother was admitted in a trust hospital, big trust hospital. The trust hospital was demanding 2 lakh rupees. In my teaser video that I have told about it. But those who have not heard it, I mean, then he said, but my mother is COVID positive. They declined to accept the government report. And they said, we have our report says it is negative. Then I called him. I said, look, I'm a gynecologist. I mean, don't play with me. You have asked the patient to buy the remdesivir. Why? That is for COVID patient. So don't give any your excuses. He will not pay a rupee. You have to treat that patient under Mahatma Phule Jana Arogya Yojana. He did not have to pay. His mother also got cured. So we want to extend this help to rural and urban area. Next slide. And now at the end of the slide and my presentation, I rush but we all three are there to interact with you and answer your question. But last slide, this project per month, we expect 1,000 persons and to get some help from the help desk and helpline in districts and rural and Pune city, and we are also 40 to 50 critical cases. But more than that, we are also training local health activists, because once we come out, those activists will continue to help. That is our always the purpose of any project. We empower the local cadre. And lastly, we will have cross-cutting experience, some cross-cutting complaints, deficiencies, gaps. We are in position to negotiate with state government and Pune municipality and say that, look, these systemic changes are required. So this is the output we are looking towards. And the budget we have calculated is 27 lakhs, around $36,000. Thank you again for being with us. And thanks again to AID and Triveni Mitra Mandal. We will be eager to interact with you to answer your question.
Thank you, Arun. This is exemplary work by Sathi, which is one of AID's 35 partners in India, in the area of healthcare, both at policy level and execution level. The need to support this project is $36,000. The good news is that AID Cincinnati has already committed $15,000 through the COVID funds that we have raised. We appeal all the participants to generously contribute to help us get to the rest of the $21,000. You can donate using the link shown here. Rishi has also posted the link in the chat window to make it easier. It will be helpful if you post your pledges in the chat window as well. And if you are unable to donate online at this point in time, just post your pledge and we can work with you to, we can help you to get the donation done. We'll use next 30 minutes or so for any questions and answers that you may have. Please post your questions in the chat window. Let me start with a question for Shaku and Bhau, who are working on the ground with people who are needy, largely in the marginalized part of the society. So Shaku and Bhau, please tell us about what type of people you are helping, your experiences, and what are their needs that healthcare system can address or needs to address. Shaku?
Yes. राजेश जी, हम हिंदी में बात करेंगे. Is it okay?
That should be okay. Is there anyone who doesn't understand Hindi and will need translation? Hopefully not. Go ahead, Shaku.
Okay. तो अरुण जी ने अभी काफी सारे बातें रखी है, और जैसे राजेश जी ने पूछा है कि मतलब पूना की जो परिस्थिति देख रहे हैं हम, दिन ब दिन केसेस बढ़ते जा रहे हैं और करीबन हम अभी 1 लाख पेशेंट के घरों में जाने की मतलब वही कगार पर रुके हैं कि अब कुछ ही दिनों में 1 लाख तक हम पहुंच जाएंगे. ऐसे में हम देख रहे हैं जब से 25 मार्च से लॉकडाउन शुरू हुआ है और तब से लेकर आज तक जिस तरीके से पेशेंट्स हमको कॉल कर रहे हैं, तो जैसे अरुण ने भी अभी बताया कि एक करीबी फ्रेंड का एक कॉल आया और उनकी माँ को जो दवाइयाँ दे रहे थे और फिर भी वो कह रहे थे कि कोविड पेशेंट नहीं है. तो शुरुआत में ऐसे ही कॉल आते रहे हमको और आज भी आ रहे हैं कि कोविड नॉन कोविड दोनों पेशेंट से यही बात आ रही है कि डिनायल हो रहा है, ओवर चार्जिंग केसेस है. अगर मान लो कि व्यक्ति या पेशेंट स्कीम के लिए एप्लीकेबल है फिर भी उनको डिनाई किया जा रहा है। कई जगह ऐसे भी हुआ कि एम्बुलेंस देने के लिए वो तैयार नहीं हो रहे और एम्बुलेंस बहुत महंगी एम्बुलेंस मिल रहे अगर हम प्राइवेट से ले रहे तो, क्योंकि एडिशनल पीपीई का खर्चा भी वो पकड़ रहे हैं। डैशबोर्ड में कई जगह बेड्स दिखाई दे रहे हैं लेकिन फोन पे पूछ रहे हैं कि अगर आप 15,000 डिपॉजिट दे रहे हैं तो यहाँ पर बेड अवेलेबल है, अगर नहीं दे रहे तो फिर वो सोच रहे हैं। तो इस तरीके से जो फोन कॉल्स आ रहे हैं और इसके चलते एक परिस्थिति तैयार हो रही है कि हम लोगों तक पहुंचे, इंफॉर्मेशन लेते हुए हम लोगों तक पहुंचे, अपने राइट्स लेते हुए कि भैया ये परिस्थिति जनरल भी हेल्थ राइट्स होने चाहिए लेकिन क्राइसिस पीरियड में तो और लोगों तक सेवाएं मिलनी चाहिए। तो ये बातें, ये इस टाइप का काम अभी चल रहा है। एक्चुअली मैं क्वेश्चन थोड़ा मिस कर गई क्योंकि मेरा टेक्निकल प्रॉब्लम आई थी। बहुत कुछ जोड़ सकते हैं।
Can the speaker turn on their camera? It's good to see who is talking.
Yes,
नमस्कार
Rajesh, this is a choice that the participants can do, right? They can choose what to see. Can you clarify that, Rajesh, before we go on?
Yes, I think Sohini's point was for how to turn on the camera, which
Okay.
he had done. But for the participants, if you go to the top of your Zoom window and click on View Options, and there is a side-by-side mode option. If you click that, you will be able to see the presentation and the video both at the same time.
Yeah, I was talking about Sakku ji. Like I say, Hindi में बात करती है ना तो थोड़ा सा दिक्कत हो रहा है understanding में. So camera, I mean video होगा तो little bit more understanding.
Yes, she had her video on, Sohini. If you go, if you
So why is
yeah.
it not showing?
Yeah.
Is it because our view is different?
You
Yes,
can set
yes.
it.
You
Okay.
can set it. भाऊ आप
राजेश जी ट्रांसलेशन भी हो सकता है ना?
भाऊ आप बोल सकते हैं अभी।
जी जी जी, मैं आप सभी का माफी चाहता हूँ। मैं अंग्रेजी में इतना फ्लुएंटली बात नहीं कर पाऊंगा, मैं हिंदी में बात रखूंगा अपनी। अभी अरुण जी ने और शकू जी ने जो बात रखी उसको मैं थोड़ा सा आगे लेके जाता हूँ। शकू और अरुण ने अर्बन एरिया के बारे में काफी कुछ कहा है, लेकिन रूरल इंडिया के बारे में हम अगर कहें तो 25 मार्च से जब लॉकडाउन शुरू हुआ तब क्या हुआ, क्योंकि ये जो माइग्रेंट पीपल थे हमारे, जो शहरों में काम के लिए आए थे, रोजगार के लिए, तो वो गांव में चले आए। गांव में चले आए तो हुआ क्या कि ऑटोमेटिकली हमारी जो हेल्थ केयर सिस्टम है उसके ऊपर बर्डन शुरू हो। एक तो कोविड का उनके ऊपर टेंशन था क्योंकि उनके पास प्रॉपर जो है ह्यूमन रिसोर्स नहीं था, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर ठीक नहीं था। तो इसके कारण क्या उनका पूरी सिस्टम जो है कोविड के चलते काम करने में लगी, लेकिन अदर हेल्थ सर्विसेज के बारे में उनके पास ह्यूमन रिसोर्स नहीं था। तो ये जो लोग गांव में आए तो इनका ये जो बीमार पड़ते थे, सादी बीमारी हो कुछ भी हो, तो ये लोग ऑटोमेटिकली चले गए हेल्थ केयर, अपनी गवर्नमेंट की हेल्थ केयर सिस्टम में, और वहाँ जो बर्डन हुआ है उससे काफी कुछ लोगों को दिक्कतें आनी शुरू हुई। दूसरी बात, इसमें एक चीज ऐसी हुई कि हमारी प्राइवेट हेल्थ सेक्टर जो है 25 मार्च से जब से लॉकडाउन शुरू हुआ तब क्या हुआ, इन्होंने अपनी अपनी क्लिनिक बंद कर दी और ऑटोमेटिकली जो लोग प्राइवेट हेल्थ सेक्टर क्लिनिक में जाते थे सादी बीमारी के लिए, वो लोग ऑटोमेटिकली चले गए गवर्नमेंट हॉस्पिटल में। ये जो बात हो रही थी ना, इसमें कुछ गड़बड़ होने लगी, पेशेंट्स को उनके हेल्थ केयर डिनाई होने लगे। तो हमको ये समझ में आने लगा रूरल इंडिया में कि यहाँ काम की बहुत जरूरी है, क्योंकि जो अस्पताल में पेशेंट आते हैं उनको अगर मदद नहीं की हमने तो काफी बड़ी घटना हो सकती है। ये बर्डन गुस्से में आ सकता है, लोगों में गुस्सा हो सकता है सरकार के प्रति या गवर्नमेंट हेल्थ सेक्टर के प्रति, लोग अलग तरीके से रिस्पॉन्सेस देना शुरू कर सकते हैं। तो हमको लगा कि इसके लिए एक काम करना चाहिए कि हम कोशिश करेंगे कि किसी रूरल हॉस्पिटल या हमारा सब डिस्ट्रिक्ट हॉस्पिटल में अगर हम एक हेल्प डेस्क चलाते हैं और उसमें से लोगों को प्रॉपर तरीके से गाइडेंस करते हैं कि भैया आपको इस एसडीएच में या रूरल हॉस्पिटल में क्या सेवा मिलती है, इन लोगों का काम क्या है, इनके ऊपर अभी क्या बर्डन आ रहा है। दूसरी बात, अगर जैसे एमपीजेवाई की महात्मा फुले जन आरोग्य योजना की बात कही है, तो उसमें 1.5 लाख तक अभी तो अगस्त तक सरकार ने कहा है कि सभी लोगों को फुले जन आरोग्य योजना का बेनिफिट मिलेगा। तो इसके बारे में भी अगर कोविड पेशेंट हो या नॉन कोविड पेशेंट है, हार्ट का पेशेंट हो, किडनी का पेशेंट है या किसी को घुटने का ऑपरेशन करवाना है, इनको प्रॉपर गाइडेंस होना बहुत जरूरी है। और ये सब मिसिंग है इस दौरान, क्योंकि सरकार के पास ह्यूमन रिसोर्स नहीं है। और हमको लगा कि हम पूरे महाराष्ट्र में, पूरे रूरल इंडिया में तो कुछ नहीं कर सकते, लेकिन जहाँ हमारा नेटवर्क है, कम्युनिटी बेस्ड मॉनिटरिंग एंड प्लानिंग और न्यूट्रिशन का काम हमारा जहाँ जहाँ चल रहा है, उस इलाके में हम हेल्थ सिस्टम को किस ढंग से मदद कर सकते हैं। और लोग और हेल्थ सिस्टम, इनमें अगर सही मायने में कोऑर्डिनेशन रहा तो हमें लगा कि ये बर्डन कम होने में मदद होगी। और जो प्राइवेट हॉस्पिटल में महात्मा फुले जन आरोग्य योजना चलाई जा रही है, हालांकि इंश्योरेंस स्कीम है, सरकार उस हॉस्पिटल को पैसे देती है, लेकिन पेशेंट को ये मुफ्त में इसका बेनिफिट मिलता है। लेकिन इसमें बहुत सारे मिथ्स अंडरस्टैंडिंग है, लोगों को पता नहीं है, तो वहां भी गए तो वहां भी उस हॉस्पिटल में भी इस योजना के बारे में ठीक से लोगों को जानकारी नहीं दी जाती है। तो हम यही चाहते हैं कि इस हेल्प डेस्क के मदद से लोगों में एक अवेयरनेस तैयार हो, लोगों को प्रॉपर गाइडेंस मिले, और जो लोगों को लास्ट तक ये इस स्कीम का लाभ कैसे मिले, बेनिफिट कैसा मिले, इसके बारे में हम काम करें, ऐसी हमारी यह सोच। मेरा हो गया। आगे शकू, आप कुछ जोड़ना चाहती इसमें तो जोड़िएगा।
धन्यवाद भाऊ and Shaku. For those who are not speaking, if you can keep on mute, you can avoid the disturbance. Thank you. I see there is a question from Deepak Kamath regarding donating funds in rupees in India. Shri, do you want to address that question? What's the best way to do that?
Donations in India can be sent directly to Saathi and the parent organization Anusandhan Trust. So what we can do is, Deepak, we can share that information directly with you, and I think it's on their website, the Anusandhan Trust website.
Yeah, within 2 days, tomorrow, by tomorrow evening, I will inquire with the finance person of Anusandhan Trust and get the details, bank details. One thing is certain, by FCRA, Foreign Currency Regulation Act, we cannot take directly any funds except MOU and organization like aid. Personal donations are, not accepted. There is a quite rigorous procedure for that.
Right.
But for India, I don't think there will be any problem.
Yeah.
From India to Anusandhan Trust in rupees, it could
Exactly.
be. I will give the details.
Yeah. So to be very clear, this is Indian money made by Indian donations in India to Saathi. All other US-based donations, please make it to aid, and we, of course, through FCRA, transfer to Saathi and Anusandhan Trust.
Thank you, Shri and Arun. So please consider contributing to this effort. As I mentioned, our goal is to raise the remaining 21,000, which is needed to fund this project. There is another question from Sohinidhi regarding what kind of barriers does Saathi face while doing this work?
सकू भाऊ, क्या क्या दिक्कतें आती है, बैरियर्स क्या होते हैं when we work with state?
एक्चुअली अभी कोविड-19 का बताना या जनरल?
Both COVID-19 and general, that the work that Saathi does, ये तो बहुत दिक्कत का
Yes.
काम है ना आप लोग
Yes,
kind of
yes.
challenging the status quo of doctors and the medical representatives etc. तो क्या what kind of challenges if any आप लोग face करते हो?
Yes. Actually सेम क्वेश्चन ललिता जी ने भी पूछा था कि इस करप्शन से आप कैसे फाइट करते हो, तो यस मतलब हम ये नहीं दावा कर रहे हैं कि यस हमने बहुत लंबी लड़ाई जीत ली है, लेकिन हमने स्टार्ट किया है। और ये स्टार्ट 1998 से डॉक्टर आनंद फड़के एंड डॉक्टर अभय शुक्ला जी ने जो शुरू किया था महाराष्ट्र एंड मध्य प्रदेश से, कि एक था कि लोगों को अवेयर करना अपने राइट्स के बारे में। और मेरे को ये कहने को खुशी होगी कि 1998 से अरविंदा जी यहाँ पर है, वो भी बताएंगे कि तब से एड के साथ में काम चल रहा है। मतलब सपोर्ट कुछ भी हो, लेकिन इतने सालों से एड के साथ ये हमारा रिलेशन आगे बढ़ रहा है। तो ये जो 1998 में अनंत और अभय ने जो शुरुआत की थी कि बेसिक है कि लोगों को अवेयर करें और अपने हक अपने अधिकार के बारे में जागरूक करें, और ऑटोमेटिकली लोग आगे बढ़ेंगे। तो ये शुरुआत हम कोई भी नए इलाके में जब जाएंगे तब यही से होती है कि भैया लोगों को बताए कि हम टैक्स देते हैं, और ये टैक्स से यहाँ पर जो डॉक्टर प्राइमरी हेल्थ केयर सेंटर में आता है तो वो डॉक्टर हमारे पसीने के पैसे से आता है। नर्स जो हमारे घर पर आती है दवाई देती है, तो जब हम टैक्स देते हैं तब जाकर उसको सैलरी मिलती है। तो ये जब अवेयरनेस लोगों में पहुंचता है तब जैसे अरुण एक मेहनतकश महिला, एकदम मालनरिश महिला, लेकिन उसके आवाज में जो मजबूती है, जो स्ट्रॉन्ग वॉइस है, वो ऑटोमेटिकली निकल के आता है। तो वैसे ही है कि हम आज तक रूरल और ट्राइबल एरियाज में बहुत ज्यादा काम किए हैं पिछले 15-20 सालों में। तो तब आदिवासी हो या रूरल एरिया के लोग हो, जो हमारे ही भाई बहन है, हमारे साथ काम करने वाले कार्यकर्ता है, तो वो जिस तरीके से डॉक्टर के साथ अपने हक के लिए लड़ते हैं वो बहुत बढ़िया रहता है। और वही मुद्दा है कि जब एक वो कंसेप्ट रहा ना, कम्युनिटी बेस्ड मॉनिटरिंग ऑन हेल्थ सर्विसेज। अगर खेती मेरी है, घर मेरा है, तो ये अस्पताल भी मेरा है, ये स्कूल भी मेरी है, ये बस भी मेरे है, और ये रोड्स भी मेरे हैं। और ये अप्रोच जब लोगों में जाता है तो लोग साथ में आते हैं, इकट्ठा आते हैं और सवाल खड़े होते हैं। हाँ, दूसरी बात जो रहती है नर्स या डॉक्टर या क्लास 1 ऑफिसर्स के लिए, तो शुरुआत में तो उनको जब सवाल पूछते हैं तो उनको वो कोट लगता है, वो कटघरा लगता है कि ये अनपढ़ लोग, ये गंवार लोग, ये मेहनतकश आदिवासी दलित लोग ये हमसे सवाल कैसे पूछ रहे हैं। और ये तो दिक्कतें आती है। कई सारे जनसंवाद, अब हम उसको जनसंवाद पीपल्स डायलॉग कह रहे हैं, पहले हम उसको पीपल्स हियरिंग कहते थे, और फिर अभी म्यूचुअल अंडरस्टैंडिंग से हियरिंग उनको ये शब्द अच्छा नहीं लगता है, तो पीपल्स डायलॉग कहते हैं कि लोग आएंगे और बात करेंगे। तो कई सारे पब्लिक डायलॉग में डॉक्टर्स ने एकदम नाराज होकर चले गए। मेरा खुद का अनुभव रहा कि डॉक्टर्स को बिल्कुल ठीक नहीं लगा कि जिस तरीके से मैंने सवाल पूछे और जिस तरीके से मैंने लोगों को पॉजिटिव वर्ड में उसका उकसाया कि आप सवाल पूछिए और ये आपका राइट बनता है। तो मेरे को लगता है कि करीबन 2 साल वो डॉक्टर मेरे साथ बात नहीं किए और नाराजी रहे। लेकिन वही मुद्दा होता है कि जब लोग सवाल खड़ा करते हैं तब डॉक्टरों को वो काम करना पड़ता है। रेसिडेंशियल डॉक्टर अस्पताल में नहीं रहते तो वो रहने लगे। जो डॉक्टर एक पर्ची प्रिस्क्रिप्शन लिख कर देता है अस्पताल में, पीएससी में दवाई होते हुए भी, तो वो बंद हो जाता है। नर्सेस होम विजिट करने लगती है, विलेज विजिट करने लगती है। तो इस टाइप की चीजें हम सॉल्व करने के लिए सक्सेस हुए, लेकिन पॉलिसी लेवल्स के इश्यूज के लिए जाहिर है कि वो पॉलिसी लेवल्स के इश्यूज है, और एडवोकेसी के लिए हम काफी माथापच्ची करते रहे, लेकिन जब स्टेट पॉलिसी चेंज होती है, प्राइवेटाइजेशन आता है, तब पब्लिक हेल्थ सर्विस ऑटोमेटिकली उनको कमजोर करना पड़ता है। बहु कुछ ऐड करें।
हाँ, मैं शकू की बात को आगे लेके जाऊंगा। जिस देश का बजट जीडीपी के 1.3% हो, उस देश की हेल्थ सिस्टम कैसे काम करेगी आप सोच सकती है। हमने सुना है कि यूएस की 12% तक है और भारत की 1.3%, और कोरोना ने ये दिखा दिया है कि भारत की, हमारे देश की हेल्थ सिस्टम कोलैप्स हो गई है और इसको सुधारना चाहिए, और हमें पिछले कुछ सालों से इसकी मांग कर रहे हैं। और एक ग्लोबलाइजेशन के चक्कर में तो हमारी देश की हेल्थ सिस्टम और कोलैप्स होने लगी, और इसका ज्यादा से ज्यादा असर हुआ वो मिडिल क्लास, गरीब लोग, और अभी तो हायर मिडिल क्लास है, उनके ऊपर भी बहुत, वो तो जब कतरे वाला काम हो गया अभी, और लोग उसको भुगतान दे रहे हैं। दूसरी बात ये है इसमें, आपने जो प्रश्न पूछा कि ये करप्शन कम करने के लिए आपने क्या किया, जैसे शकू ने कहा कि कम्युनिटी बेस्ड मॉनिटरिंग ऑन हेल्थ सर्विसेज, कम्युनिटी बेस्ड मॉनिटरिंग एंड प्लानिंग ऑन हेल्थ सर्विसेज। मॉनिटरिंग और प्लानिंग मतलब लोग मॉनिटरिंग करेंगे और लोग प्लानिंग भी करेंगे। हमने एक तरीका आजमाया इसमें। एक तो सात्विक, जैसे शकू ने कहा, पिछले 20-22 सालों से हेल्थ राइट का काम कर रही है, लेकिन जब से हमने 2005 से कम्युनिटी बेस्ड मॉनिटरिंग का काम शुरू किया, 2007 से, तो एक उसका मेथोडोलॉजी है। वो क्या किया हमने कि हमारी गांव की विलेज हेल्थ सैनिटेशन और न्यूट्रिशन कमिटी है, उनके लोगों को हमने तैयार करना शुरू किया। सेकेंडली, उन्हीं लोगों की हमने प्राइमरी हेल्थ सेंटर के लेवल पे एक मॉनिटरिंग एंड प्लानिंग कमिटी बनाई। उसके बाद हमने ब्लॉक लेवल पे मॉनिटरिंग एंड प्लानिंग कमेटी बनाई। उसके बाद हम डिस्ट्रिक्ट लेवल के, फिर स्टेट लेवल पे, ऐसे करीबन आज की तारीख में 17 डिस्ट्रिक्ट में ये काम चल रहा है और आगे बढ़ रहा है। तो इसमें तरीका यही आजमाया कि लोगों को ट्रेनिंग किया जाए, लोगों में अवेयरनेस किया जाए, लोगों को कहा जाए, जैसे शकू जी ने कहा कि ये उनका राइट है। क्यों राइट है? कि वो टैक्स पेयर है, डायरेक्टली इनडायरेक्टली वो टैक्स पेयर है और उनका ये राइट है। तो लोगों में जब एक चीज आने लगे कि अरे भैया ये सही बात है कि मैं पैसा देता हूं और मेरे पैसे से देश चलता है, तो लोग प्रश्न, पहले तो लोग डरते थे, बहुत डरते थे, लेकिन जब उनमें एक हिम्मत आने लगे कि अरे मैं सवाल पूछ सकता हूँ, क्योंकि हेल्थ सिस्टम में एक हायरार्की है, ऊपर से लेके नीचे तक, और सबसे नीचे मानी जाती है हमारी अभी की हेल्थ सिस्टम में हायरार्की में आशा मानी जाती है, और उसके बाद में लोग जो पेशेंट है उसको कम्युनिटी को माना जाता है इस हायरार्की में। तो लोग डरते थे, लेकिन जब हिम्मत आई लोगों में तो लोग सवाल पूछने लगे अपनी कमिटी में। हमारे गांव में लोग निगरानी करने लगे कि हमारे गांव के हेल्थ सर्विस देने वाले प्रोवाइडर से, आशा हो, मल्टीपर्पज हेल्थ वर्कर हो, या एनएमए ऑक्सिलरी नर्स मिडवाइफ हो, ये जो है ये सही मायने में गांव में आते हैं कि नहीं, उनका काम ठीक ढंग से करते हैं कि नहीं, उसके ऊपर निगरानी करने लगी, उनका सर्वे करने लगे, और वहां से जो प्रॉब्लम निकलते उसका सॉल्विंग आशा के साथ, ग्राम पंचायत के साथ बैठ के करने लगे। उससे क्या हुआ, गांव में ऑटोमेटिकली क्वालिटी ऑफ सर्विस बदलने लगी, मतलब जो सर्विस बद्दा थी वो ठीक से होने लगी। वही सेम पीएचसी लेवल पे होने लगी। फिर पीएचसी में रोगी कल्याण समिति नाम की एक कमिटी है, वह हमारे पीपल रिप्रेजेंटेटिव भी होते हैं, वो 2 बॉडीज होते हैं, वो डिटेल में हम कभी बाद में बात करेंगे। हमारी वेबसाइट में काफी उसके डिटेलिंग दिए हुए हैं। तो उसमें आने वाला जो फंड है उसका भी लोग प्लानिंग करना शुरू हुए। इससे क्या हुआ, जो हेल्थ ऑफिशियल्स है उनको लगा कि लोग अब सिर्फ मॉनिटरिंग नहीं करते तो पैसों का भी प्लानिंग करते हैं, तो उनके दिमाग में ये शुरू हो गया कि हम लोगों को अकाउंटेबल है, लोग हमको पूछेंगे, और धीरे धीरे उनका जो विरोध था वो कम होने लगा। आज की तारीख में हम ऐसा मानते हैं कि पॉलिसी लेवल के मुद्दे छूटे नहीं होंगे, उसका रिजॉल्विंग नहीं हुआ होगा, लेकिन लोकल लेवल के मुद्दे जो है, डिस्ट्रिक्ट लेवल के काफी सारे मुद्दे वो छूटने लगे, उसका रिजॉल्विंग होने लगा है। और कहीं तो स्टेट लेवल पे जो ऑफिशियल है उनमें एक समझ आ गई है कि लोग जो है लोगों के अधिकार के लिए अभी सजग हो गए, जागरूक हो गए, तो उनको हमको एड्रेस करना पड़ेगा। हम बहुत सालों से मेडिसिन के मुद्दे पे, इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर के मुद्दे पे, पोस्ट वैकेंट पोस्ट के मुद्दे पे स्टेट लेवल पे हम काफी प्रयास कर रहे हैं। और इसका एक ही कारण है, जब हमारा जीडीपी के अनुसार जो डब्ल्यूएचओ कहती है कम से कम 5%, 3.5% भी बजट बढ़ोतरी हो गई हमारे देश में, तो मुझे लगता है कि ये बहुत सारे करप्शन के मामले नहीं कम होते जाएंगे, क्योंकि इसमें बहुत सारी चीजें जैसे लोगों के हक है, वैसे ही जो हमारे प्रोवाइडर्स, हेल्थ प्रोवाइडर्स है, उनके बहुत सारी दिक्कतें, ठीक से क्वार्टर रहने को नहीं है, उनके पास मेडिसिन नहीं है, पर्याप्त उनके पास स्टाफ नहीं, क्या करेंगे, कैसे सेवा देंगे। तो ये बर्डन जो है ना, ये दोनों तरीके से है। तो इसको हल करने का एक ही मसला, एक ही मतलब एक ही उपाय हो सकता है कि बजट बढ़ा है और लोग उसी के ऊपर और निगरानी ठीक से करें। हमने कोशिश की है, आगे भी करते रहेंगे, और हेल्प डेस्क और हेल्पलाइन जो भी है कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि और उसको आगे लेके जाए। थैंक यू।
One thing I will add, basically in the COVID, post-COVID, I mean, जैसे COVID आया, we are getting a good support from government because government wants as many hands and aid as possible. So in this next 6 months, we are expecting that because Shaku had went to Pune Municipal Corporation to seek the permission for help desk. She was welcomed with the both hands. I mean, they have no human resource. So this is a turning point as we see, and we can also two-prong. We will help the government as well as policy level. We will ask for provisioning of more funds and strengthening of public health care system. And every minister, right from the prime minister to chief minister to health minister, is speaking now in terms of strengthening of public health system. So the situation has quite little bit receptible to NGOs like us. Thank you.
Thank you, Shaku, Bhau, and Arun. If you have any questions, please post them. I'm sure all of us have families back in India, and we are worried about the healthcare systems there. So please feel free to post your questions, and please consider donating as well.
So Rajesh, next question. Looks like there is.
Yeah, the question I have is, can we donate in rupees? We have a bank account in India.
Yes, this was addressed earlier, Nalini ji. You can, and it has to be from the Indian account to Saathi or Anusandhan Trust, and we'll share that information directly to everybody who's on the call.
If you could
It can be
send their routing number and all that, so
Yes.
we can transfer the money.
Yes,
So,
Arun Gadre ji said he will get the bank details, and we will share that with you all.
we will appreciate that. So we
Thank
can
you,
make
Somji
that
and Nalini ji.
No problem.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Very good
Sorry.
presentation.
Yeah, this was a
Thank
great presentation. That
And
you
I'm
did.
glad that you guys are making a difference. This is something.
Thank you, Nalini ji, Somji.
Good to
So
know
what is
all this.
Saathi doing for preventive care?
Rajesh, should we take that question, or there are other people in line before Nalini ji? So just making sure we get.
Yeah,
Rajesh,
I think we can take that question.
Okay, go ahead, Arunji. We have how much more time? Just doing a process check. Another 8 minutes or so is what we had planned. So go ahead, please.
Yeah, what was the question? Preventive.
The question is
Prevent.
preventive medicine, preventive care.
Yeah. Basically, we are more into policy activity
Okay.
and basically making system accountable,
Okay.
and patients get their entitlement as their right.
Okay.
So we are not into directly in health determinants or any preventive type of services. We are not into it. Neither we give any services, but we empower the people to make them demand what is duly rightful for them. That is our whole purpose. I mean, that is the way we are looking at. But if you are in a wider sense of preventive medicine, the health planning also comes under its wider umbrella. And that we are doing, as Bhau said, that even at the village level, we are asking people not only to monitor, but also to plan. In that planning section, definitely the PSM preventive goes into, because then the local needs are getting translated into the budget. I mean, suppose the village has more malaria, then definitely they will demand for malaria suppression. So that element is taken care in planning. But that has just begun across the, and generally from village level, the pressure has just to build. But we have started in the planning umbrella of this preventive work. But right now we are more focused on getting services as entitled.
This was a great presentation.
Yeah.
Very nicely done.
Okay. Thank you, Somji, Dr. Tandans, both of you. Rajesh, next.
In any other questions? I'm not seeing any more questions on chat, but feel free to post your questions or unmute yourself and ask it.
And also, please do donate if you can, either in India or here, because AID has already committed 14,500, and we would like to raise some more funds towards the $36,000 that is targeted by this proposal. So whatever funds you do provide will really help. And as you can see, they're doing a phenomenal job in making the basic health right provision available for the vulnerable people in rural and slum areas of Pune.
What about your overhead expenses and administrative expenses?
Dr. Gadre, they are both physicians, by the way, Dr. Som Tandon and Dr. Nalini Tandon. So that's why they're asking you these questions.
You are asking me?
Asking how much is the administrative expense?
Overheads.
Overhead.
They are incorporated in our budget, definitely. Because they have to be, otherwise how can we? So they are a part of the budget.
So if you're interested, Dr. Tandans, I can share the budget in detail. We do have that, and happy to show all the line items that they are
Wondering if it is what percentage of our donation is going for.
So as far as aid is concerned, 96% of the money goes to projects. So we don't have overhead much as an organization. We are one of the highest rated organizations by Charity Navigator because it's mostly volunteer based work. So apart from credit card fees, and we have two kind of volunteers who get paid stipends, who are development coordinators, but essentially very less overhead is the answer from an aid standpoint.
Okay.
That's nice.
Okay, that's nice.
Very nice.
So Rajesh, should we move on then? Do we have?
Yes, let's move on. We don't have any more questions.
Okay, so what I'd like to do is we also have a special video that was sent to us yesterday about some work done in Maharashtra by another NGO that we partner with. And we thought it's timely. So we'll just take a minute to show you that video. And I need to, I need to again go into the video sharing mode. Please bear with me for 1 second while I stop, share my screen and So as you can see, this is also work done by Center for Sustainable Agriculture. They work in the eastern part of Maharashtra. And now what we'd like to do, make a couple of public service announcements. AID Cincinnati is partnering with Cincinnati Desi golfers with a golf event. So if you're interested in golfing, we had the cultural program planned, but because of the COVID pandemic, we don't have that anymore. So it's just the golfing on September 26th. If you do golf or know people who golf, please spread the word and have them participate. Of course, donations at that event are also welcome. For many years, we've either done Harmony or Indradhanush. Harmony was our larger scale program featuring professionals typically. Indradhanush was more local talent. So we're planning a fundraising event with cultural programs on November 7th. We have reserved an auditorium. It may end up being virtual. So we're planning a rainbow of 7 unique cultural items, very diverse from India, especially if we can get folk and tribal kind of elements as well. If you know of any items or have interest, please do send us an email, and there will be updates on our website as we move forward. As far as all the folks who helped us today, we of course thank Saathi and all the 35 partners we have in India who are doing tremendous work on the ground in India. We are very happy to have Triveni Mitra Mandal join us. And Amit Shastri, if you'd like to say anything, please feel free to jump in at this point. Do you have any comment, Amit, who's the president?
Yes, thanks, Shri. So I think for people like us who live live abroad, I mean, our understanding and exposure to this current scenario is limited to the newspapers and WhatsApp. But Gadre sir, Bhau, and Shakuji, I think it was fascinating to hear from you today and get to know what is happening on the ground. And I think Nitin mentioned this before, that Triveni Mitra Mandal, which is based out of Cincinnati, it's always at the forefront of exercises like this, the donation drives. We did one for the local community a couple of months before. And as I see towards this, is that this is just the today's webinar and fundraising exercise. This is just the beginning of what we are doing, and we are also going to try our best at the community level to reach out to people and make sure that even after this event, the flow of help and funds continue. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, Amit, and all of Triveni Mitra Mandal for your support. We did get support from other 8 chapters that partner with Saathi in Cleveland and Seattle, as well as Marathi Mandals in those areas. And of course, for all of you, please do continue to support AID and Saathi, because it makes a difference and they definitely need our support. We are available beyond this call, as Amit said, to address questions, to collaborate. And if you'd like to engage with Dr. Gadre and others at Saathi, we're happy to enable that. So we thank you very much for joining today, and we appreciate your support very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your support.